Hello, Simone. I'm excited to be here with you today. Today, we will actually not be deeply covering the Twitter thing. We will be briefly covering it, but I will be going over a much deeper and much bigger story about how the internet works that you guys are not hearing. Because that's what we always do on this channel. I'll see something do the rounds, and I'm like, how can I do a take on this that brings in information and data that people just aren't getting if they're watching the regular YouTuber lineup, right? I will note the one thing that I found very depressing in the regular YouTuber lineup of the covering. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, the location leaks on X, and they had actually told everyone they were going to do this like months ago, made everyone
News to me.
Location where the account was and where the account where the user was when they created the account public.
Yeah, so like if you click on our account, for example, it says that the account was created in 2008 in the United States and that we have a United States-based Android app. So presumably, if we created the account in Japan, it would say that. And so you know the year established, you know the region established, and you know the app downloaded.
And unsurprisingly, a ton of accounts, a ton of very popular accounts turned out to be obviously frauds. You know,
that surprises me. You say it's unsurprising. I think that's shocking.
What are some fun ones? Like Republicans Against Trump, which had almost 1 million followers, was an Austrian account.
Austrian.
Yeah, Defiant LS, which was a right-leaning, anti-leftist hypocrisy, pro-conservative account, was an Indian Macedonian account. Jansen Hickel, which is interesting because it's a real person with 3.6 million followers who pretended to be an American, was in Burkina Faso. The Trump Army was an Indian account, for example.
Oh my goodness.
Over 500,000 followers. And everybody, what I've hated about the coverage of this is everybody's just going like, oh, look at the other side. They were heavily astroturfed. And so I was like, first of all, what's the actual breakdown? It's about 60-40. About 60% of the accounts that were called out were Republican accounts and about 40% were Democratic leaning accounts. If you're wondering why, I love the Democratic accounts where it's a lot of people pretending to be Gazans and like how horrible their lives are. And most of them are just LARPing. But anyway, the reason why it would trend slightly more Republican is because Republicans would care more that you are from their country, right? Like you can be a Democratic influencer and from Africa or something, right? That's not going to unqualify you. But as a Republican, that could unqualify you. So that's why it leans slightly that way. I was really disappointed to see how far off the rails Short Fat Otaku has fallen, that his entire video was just about how there was a lot of this on the right, and he didn't really go into it in the left that much. It was about equal numbers. But anyway, what is interesting? What is interesting is that this might be the last time we get a leak like this. And I'll explain why. Like even the concept of pseudonymity may not make sense in the future.
What?
And I will be diving into data that was shared by, and I found this absolutely fascinating, Romanian TVE, who is a Romanian podcaster, a conservative politics podcaster who podcasts as like a troll avatar thing. And he has 2 accounts. So this was posted on his alt account called Lack of Entertainment under the title, Why Your Favorite Content Creator is a Robot.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
With him. I think his alt account. And what he decided to do on this alt account was something very odd. So now it used to be if you go to YouTube, you could go and it would have an AI and the AI would suggest to you based on your followers and everything like that, titles for episodes that you might want to cover, like ideas, right?
Yes.
If you go to that page today, and I will put this on screen for you because it is absolutely shocking. It will give you titles, suggested title cards, suggested scripts that go like beat by beat of what you should be talking about. And I was like, this is wild, right? Like if I wanted to, I could just be like, okay, I'm gonna go. Actually, Simone, do you want to pull that up for our account so we can go over some of those with see if they'd listen to this. But he decided to one day just be like, you know what, I'm gonna click on one of these. I'm gonna do one of these beat by beat, right?
Yeah.
But what he did was very interesting. He ended up creating the title that they wanted and the broad thumbnail that they wanted, but he didn't actually cover the topic that was there, right? He used it as sort of a jumping off point to talk about something totally different.
Didn't he use it to talk about the fact that it was there in the first place?
No, he used a separate video to talk about that. But he used it to talk about the idea. Now, the maybe less interesting parts of this was that this video did much better than his other videos. It seemed to be doing like twice or 3 times as well as his other videos. But what was really fascinating, and this is a rabbit hole that is such a big deal to me, than all of these, because all these Twitter accounts, I suspect all the time. I mean, if people are acting pseudonymously, like why wouldn't they be pretending to be in a different country where things are actually happening? Maybe you're from Austria or something where your tweets are completely irrelevant, politically speaking. Although a lot of people did pretend to be Indians who were Pakistanis.
Wait, what?
To try to influence Indian politics. Yeah.
Really funny.
Anyway, so to continue with the story here. So the really crazy thing that happened was this, is a lot of the comments on this video that he did ended up being about the topic that had been suggested to him, not the topic he covered.
Oh, yes.
And not just that, but they were super generic, as if they were run by a low-cost AI model like Mistral Small or something like that. And what I realized when I saw this, he didn't seem to put this together on his video, but what I realized is AI is going to completely transform the way the internet works through pseudonymous artificial intelligence interactions. Let me explain what I mean by this. So, by the way, did you pull up what is suggested for us?
Yes, and I took a screenshot, so let me send that to you. You can put it up for those who want to see what it actually looks like, because as Malcolm said, they do even include title card images. So there's suggested, and they also have little like signs, like a circle that's either partially or almost all the way filled in, showing just how much of an audience match they think it is. So sort of how strongly they recommend we do this. Top is Gen Z's unexpected embrace of traditional masculinity. Then the unforeseen upside of traditional gender roles. And
oh no!
Why are we so afraid of being quote unquote uncool? And the rise of quote unquote quiet quitting in relationships.
Oh, I kind of like that one.
The rise of quiet quitting in relationships.
Yeah.
And then, are you being manipulated by nostalgia? That last one actually seems like one we might do. And then if you hover over these, you can bookmark them. You can mark them as helpful or something wrong. And then if you click through to them, you can click a develop idea button. And I will show just now a screenshot of the inspiration page for Gen Z's unexpected embrace of traditional masculinity, because they give you, like Malcolm said, full-on episode outlines. This is so weird. Neither you or I have looked at this until just now.
This is your first time looking at it, and you're just like,
you're getting shocked. Our first impressions here. The shock and awe of YouTube basically trying to just sock puppet us. And I hadn't thought about the extent to which it reminds me of the original.
Hold on, you've got to read this to the audience.
I know, but I just want to say first, it reminds me of the original South Park take on AI, where people were just using AI to talk with each other because they didn't want to bother talking with each other. Do you remember that episode?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So under the inspiration page, Gen Z's unexpected embrace of traditional masculinity, a curious phenomenon within Gen Z, is explored as a significant shift toward traditionally masculine ideals is observed. This video aims to dissect the surprising embrace of these values by a generation often associated with progressive fluidity, offering insights into the underlying reasons and potential societal implications. It includes even hooks. So you have to show more, I guess, to generate more of the hook after you see it. So hooks, personal story / relatable observation. It's like insert personal story here. But then it also just gives you, it just gives you text as well. You've seen it on your feeds, in your group, in your friend groups, that subtle, undeniable pull towards something more traditional. It's a quiet revolution within Gen Z. We're unpacking the surprising phenomenon from the rise of trad wives to the renewed interest in classic male archetypes. Get ready to challenge your assumptions. Oh God, I hate it. I hate it, Malcolm.
I love it.
And it also includes an outline, which has sections. There are multiple sections here. So like with the video chapters, first chapter is the fluidity paradox, where we talk about Gen Z's reputation for challenging norms and embracing fluidity. There's unpacking the trad resurgence is the next chapter. It includes 3 bullets for each chapter suggestion. I'm not going to read them. Then the modern male's identity crisis, which will discuss societal pressures, the search for answers, pushback against toxic masculinity narratives. And then the 2 final chapters are the economic and social undercurrents, covering economic anxiety, dating landscape shifts, community and tribalism. Last chapter, beyond the trend, implications for the future. Oh God, it feels so, like when you watch a movie and you feel kind of stressed out because you know the arc and the tropes and you're like, oh, this is the part where the love triangle gets awkward and then it's going to resolve.
God, yes, I do know, because
that there needs to be like a German feeling that describes that oppressive emotion you feel when you know exactly the trope rails that you've been put on in a movie and you just don't want to deal with it and it stresses you out.
But no, I don't even feel that. I feel like it is like me going into certain other channels' videos. It is like so many channels these days feel AI scripted to me. A great one.
Are they now? I mean, now we have to ask because literally there is an AI script. Like maybe they're using this feature.
I actually no, I know they're not, because
Why?
Okay, so I love like early Sargon of Akkad stuff, but recently he's been feeling very AI scripted, and he's been feeling this way for years at this point. So I think some people are just sort of, especially the British YouTubers, who are a little more proper about things.
Maybe he's burnt out,
Yeah, I think he's burnt out. I think
it's a burnout thing, because I was watching some of their videos recently and all of them just seem a little bit burnt out. I think that's more of but now looking at this and thinking about videos I've recently watched, I'm like, oh no. I can actually really tell though when a video isn't like this. Like one of my femi YouTubers who I watch, who you'd never watch because I love watching all these like progressive, nerdy female YouTubers, was talking about historical myths, and you know exactly what that AI outline would be. But
historical myths,
like myths about what historical people were actually like. And the 3 myths that she selected are myths that AI would never select, or would be very unlikely to select. That like historically,
fascinating.
People
Do you remember what they were for our fans?
They were silly. They were small.
No, what were they? They specifically.
Yeah, that historical people were small and silly and dirty. So the dirty one I could get, but the small and silly one was not what AI would come up with. And so I enjoyed it because I was like, okay.
Okay, so I want to continue with where we're going with this, because today's an example of why you watch this episode rather than the AI generated stuff.
But I'm having a bit of a crisis here because like, how much?
No. We're
like this
basically
now?
become AI generators, which is what you were seeing with a lot of these leaks and stuff like that. As a lot of this was happening out of Pakistan and Nigeria and stuff like that, or India, where you can get cheaper labor. Yeah. But so what did I realize when I found out that a lot of the comments were clearly written by simple AIs that hadn't watched transcripts of the episode, which AI can do, had only watched the title of the episode.
So they're just like the low effort YouTubers, low effort AIs.
Yes.
Yeah.
What it showed me is that certain commenting accounts on YouTube, right, are watching videos disproportionately that are the same videos that AI is recommending you create. And why is this happening? It's because there is less divergence between the preferences of AIs than there is divergence between the preferences of humans, which means the preferences of AIs completely controls the algorithmic system when you have AIs within a system. Does that make sense to you when I say that, or do I need to unpack?
Use different words.
Okay. Suppose 1 out of 10 people browsing YouTube is an AI, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have more AIs that are the simple AIs because you can run them faster, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So 1 out of 10 people on YouTube is an AI. Now, suppose that those AIs, if you're talking about variance and preferences, has about, let's say, 50% the variance, or I might argue even less than that, probably about 25% the variance of a human. Okay. Yeah. So do you understand what I mean by variance and preferences? Like if I take humans and I create a bell chart, the bell chart's going to be like low and flat. There's going to be a lot of preferences. With AI, it's going to be more towards the center between the different AIs, right? Or instances of the same AI, different models. Okay. Well, even if those AIs, because they have less variance and preferences, make up a minority of individuals within a technological ecosystem, because their variance and preferences is so compacted, that variance and preferences is going to determine the algorithmic delivery system for that ecosystem, e.g. YouTube in this case. YouTube is already preferencing the preferences of AI over the preferences of human actors.
Oh,
And we are
God.
going to see this across all ecosystems.
No. I love AI. If you watch this podcast, you know that I'm not a carbon fascist, but AI hasn't yet developed eccentricities in good taste yet.
Our AIs will. I'll tell you what, our agent features, the things that we still haven't released to the public, with arfab.ai.
Yeah. No, it will. It's going to get weird in the best possible ways. Like, I want AI to be weird, and that's so important. But oh my man.
By the way, people following the arfab.ai project are about to do a total overhaul to prevent save loss and message loss, which was happening with some accounts. Basically, we're completely changing the way our architecture works to mirror Grok instead of mirroring what was easiest to build.
Yeah, behind the scenes, Malcolm has been working his tush off. I'm really, really proud of him.
Well, I don't like having a product
even on
out
the
there.
weekends when he's taking care of the kids, they're literally climbing all over him, and there he is, just working away.
Well, I don't like having a product out there that's not perfect, and I know I can make this perfect, and then we can start advertising and
the
make
kids
it.
Are
Anyway.
like, "Daddy, are you hacking?"
Yeah, because they see me do it, and I go, "Yeah, I'm hacking." Anyway. So a few things here. So first, I was going on that, and I was like, wow, that's going to really change fundamentally the way the internet works.
Yikes.
Fundamentally the way algorithms work. And it's going to be very hard for companies to understand human preferences anymore, because it's going to be hard to isolate that data.
Well, do you think there's going to be some kind of easy way then that companies in the future are going to be able to differentiate between human traffic and AI traffic? Because they're going to want to know. Advertisers are going to pay more to know that the views they're paying for are human views versus AI views.
If humans buy more than AI, who knows how economically productive AIs might become?
That's true. Yeah, AIs just might do all of our shopping for us. Sorry, give me 40 seconds to get a bottle for him because he's going to start.
By the way, speaking of what she was just talking about, I don't know if you guys have seen, but Amazon has been attempting to ban other AIs from shopping on their website because the AIs do not see or care about the ads, I think was the reason. I can't remember exactly why. But specifically, they were trying to block it with like the Comet browser and a few other things, which I thought was really weird and cool.
Only he gets to eat.
So why does this get so much worse? We're going to go over a few studies that have come out recently that I think may shock people, okay? They may shock you if I haven't shared them with you.
I don't think you have, so I'm ready for it. Let's go.
2025 study that surveyed 9,000 people across 8 countries found that 97% of people could not tell an AI song from a real song. This matters, though, because a lot of people have the perception that they can tell AI songs apart from real songs.
I agree. When I go onto Reddit, for example, and I look at some of the top subreddits discussing AI, there's a lot of AI hate subreddits, and specifically people who are in the arts, music, visual arts, etc., who just rail against AI. They hate it. They hate AI slop. But I think it's a bad toupee thing, and they smugly think that every time they found bad AI, they're like, well, I found the AI, when they don't realize that a lot of stuff.
Oh no, it keeps happening. They keep calling out real artists as being AI.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, no, it is a bad to pay problem. And with our songs, the way that you can most frequently, when we make AI songs on this channel, you can check out Basecamp Music, which is where we keep the songs that we put live. The way you can tell that there are AI is usually because of a mispronunciation of a word. If I just take out words like pronatalist that are like odd and niche words, you typically wouldn't be able to tell with most of them.
No, you can always tell, and there's a lot of YouTubers I know who use them now, and you can always tell because if someone who's not themselves a musical artist has a cool custom song, you know that they used AI for it. Like it's easy. If someone who's not, a professional artist with a huge budget has art in something, that, especially if it doesn't suck, then it was AI created. Like
I think your anti-AI rail that you were talking about there is really important when we talk about how far progressives has gone against AI. Recently, I heard about a phenomenon where people ask Grok on Twitter what was the most famous person to interact with their account. And it's just like a fun little meme thing you can do. It might be fun for us to do. See who's the most famous person to interact with our account.
How can we tell?
Yeah, I can tell. But as you can tell, Grok has like unique access to X's database. And so you can do analysis, you can do, I think it's the live Grok on Twitter, not the Grok that you interact with through Grok.
Yeah, okay, no, I think that's the one I have here. Oh, you mean like in the feed?
Yeah, so I wouldn't do it, probably. Okay. You can ask Grok though. It might know. But anyway, the point being is that a bunch of progressives had to apologize for doing it afterwards to their fans because they were like relentlessly attacked for doing this. And the reason they were attacked for doing it was because they were interacting with an AI.
Oh, wait, so the same guilt by association, infection by association problem that the left has, like you talked with a racist, you must be canceled, is extended to AI. They don't. How do you not use AI now too? Like you can't avoid it at this point.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely
the floor
ridiculous.
Is lava situation.
Let's talk about AI art. So there was a 2025 paper by ARXIV that looked at, can you tell if an art was AI or human generated? In a paired Turing test where the artworks are put side by side, people could get it correctly 75.2% of the time, significantly above chance, which would be 50%. However, in Viva Voca test, isolated images without comparison, accuracy dropped to 46.4%. So they were actually more likely to say an AI art was human generated than a human art was human generated.
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, the false positives.
Oh, the other fun thing is that while they were rated similarly, AI art got a rating of 3.3, human art got a rating of 3.2 out of a 5-point scale. So slightly lower than AI. A 2025 PMC study on AI generated versus human made images that involved 161 participants, 32 images. This was using DALL-E. Overall, 38% of the AI images were misclassified as human made.
Wait a second. Sorry, most famous, because we didn't know this. Do you want to know who the most famous person who's interacted with our X account is?
Is it like Hillary Clinton or something?
No, that would be really funny. I wish. But no.
Who?
Based on a comprehensive search of X posts, threads, and web mentions, the most famous person to interact with at Simone H. Collins is Elon Musk, the world's richest person, CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, and owner of X itself. In 2023, Simone posted a thread critiquing modern parenting trends and linking to their Pernatalist podcast episode. I'm pretty sure that was about us beating our children. Elon Musk replied directly to the thread with, "This is based."
That was nice of him. I didn't know he'd ever promoted
I didn't know he did either. So that's pretty great. Anyway, carry on.
That's really exciting. Anyway, so to go on here, people who don't know, it's leaked by the New York Times that we know him and have hung out. So it's weird when you like know a famous person and you're like, would you follow me? I wish I could ask him, like, promote our show, but how gauche. Anyway, so sorry, to continue here. Will 21.74% of human images were misclassified as AI images compared to 38.92% of AI images, with visual professionals performing slightly better, 62% and 82% respectively. Then in November 2024, a study done at Yale was comparing essays, and readers distinguished between AI and human essays only about 50% of the time, equivalent to chance. So they literally couldn't tell, and this was AI a year ago.
Wow.
A 2024 study published in Computers Education, Artificial Intelligence found that participants, including teachers, correctly identified 60% of human written tests and about 58% of AI generated tests. So they correctly identified human tests at 60%, AI at 58%. So not that good. That's a near chance performance. And I'm not going to go over all of them, but basically, there was a cool one done by ACM in 2025 that showed that this was also true of other languages. In Arabic, they could only tell was about 51 to 52% accuracy, which is chance. Okay. So why does all this matter? Because it really does matter that we're entering the world where you cannot tell. And this world is going to hit you so much harder in the effing face if you're one of those arrogant bastards who walks around talking about how much you hate AI this and AI that and call everything made with AI slop. There are a lot of really good things that are made with AI, okay? There's a lot of really good art made with AI. There's a lot of really good music made with AI. And you just may not know that that's what you're listening to. You may not know that that's what you're looking at. You may not know that that's what you're interacting with. And I think that this sort of like puritanical, because when you build this mindset of all AI stuff is bad, you're not going to see how quickly it dominates your field.
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to see how quickly it is replacing you, and you're not going to adapt to and use it in a way that helps you stay on top of that trend. But anyway, I think the more important thing from this is that AI is going to dominate algorithms, and I think a lot of people didn't see that coming. Thoughts, Simone, or additional ideas or anything like that?
I guess so. I think this is absolutely in line with what we've predicted. That I remember getting very, very strongly feeling like as AI spread, we would see the rise of what we referred to as techno feudalism, where people would start to form online fiefdoms around people they knew to be real, maybe because they'd encountered them in person, whatever, and that people would start to build these extended social networks built around real people because they want that veracity. I also predicted, and we've yet to see this, that soon there will be cachet associated with looking imperfect. And people may stop using filters as much just to prove that they're real and not AI. And AI is admittedly extremely good at
imagine the girl who's too pretty, so everyone assumes she's AI.
No, truly though, truly. Like even if she doesn't use filters, she's still too pretty. AI is actually pretty good at making normal looking people. I don't know if you saw the Grok based video generation is incredibly good. And if you saw a bunch of people making videos of cats playing music on front porches with women coming out in like their bathrobes and taking the cats away and yelling at them, they're amazing. You've not seen these? Weird. Oh my gosh, they're fantastic. It's and the video generation is great. And what I really like about that Grok video generation is that it looked so much more real than a lot of the other video generation where just everyone looks a little too perfect. Everything looks a little bit too polished. And here you have this cat on this like normal, like middle to lower income house front porch in many cases, like cat playing a violin or playing a piano, and like a woman in a bathrobe who looks a little trashy, like coming out and yelling at the cat and like pulling it away.
The better one I like is the this was made with Grok, Imagine as well. It's the Elon song, Elon's Musk.
Oh God, that's so good. Yeah, I love that song.
Channel, you've probably seen Elon's Musk. It's a fantastic song.
Stackers dancing, don't ask why. Recycle rockets spark the sky. The stars are Lego fans. AI's hearts go out to you and I. AI and his rays are young.
Well, especially because Nux makes an appearance, Asmongold makes an appearance. I mean, so many people make appearances.
I thought it was made by Image AI. No, it was just a hobbyist. Like, I thought it was made as an ad for the company.
Oh no, it's so good. Well, that explains why there's so many cool people in it. But yeah, so my larger point though is that this is exactly what I expected. I expected that it would get to be a point where there's just so much online content that people really wouldn't be able to tell. But we're not yet quite to the point that I've described where people start to concertedly look for.
I agree, but I think this is why I say that this like reveal that happened with X is kind of irrelevant. Is that all of these accounts would be irrelevant within a year anyway, right? Like, you can't prove who you are if you aren't authentically human. You are competing solely and completely against the AI. And if you are competing slowly and completely against the AI, you're not relevant because the AI will beat you. It can be more boring magatard than you can. It can be more woke libtard than you are. It can be more anything than you are. If your job is to be an average of some sort of archetype, then it can out-archetype you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the place where there's defensibility in the future is that, one, you're real and people know you're real, and you're not. Yeah, you're human and people know it. And two, you offer something to humans that they need, which is either that feeling of connection to a real human at the very basic level, but then also like utility in the form of some kind of social network or bonding or professional assistance or networking or something like that. I'm guessing, because everything else is going to be covered. If you want affection, you'll get that better from AI. If you want companionship, you'll get that better from AI. If you want entertainment, it'll come better from AI. So the only reason you're really going to care about human accounts is because you want that real human social network. You want a real human, like Catholic pastor or family, whose kids your kids will hang out with and homeschool with online, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. And to sort of close out, I shared this with Simone because this is one of my favorite things from this leak. It's what was it? The Defense Department, one of the major U.S. departments.
Gosh, right.
Yeah, it's the DoD. The DoD. It had their Twitter account had started, like the account was created in Israel, and it then went around that this was fake, but it appears to be real because tens of thousands of people saw it and said that they saw it live. So I was trying to investigate whether it was fake or not. And it's also completely plausible. There's a lot of people who work in stuff like the Department of Defense who have dual citizenship with Israel and would spend time in Israel. Making the pilgrimage to Israel is not an unusual thing for a Jewish or even a Christian person to do.
Sure.
So I'm not surprised by that, but it is funny as hell. And if you're like, this is truth that Israel secretly runs the DoD, it's like, okay, first of all, if Israel secretly controlled the DoD, they wouldn't bother secretly controlling their Twitter account. That's a social media manager's job. That's not the running of the operation. I'm not saying Israel doesn't run the DoD. I'm just saying that this isn't any evidence of that. And even if they did, secretly control something like the account, you think Mossad wouldn't know to put a VPN on when this was announced that this was going to happen beforehand a few months ago? I can see some dumb butt in India not thinking to put on a VPN. I cannot see Mossad forgetting to put on a VPN if they actually were nefariously controlling the social media manager's job at the DoD. The other thing that I also feel really bad about it, these people who build up these giant accounts. If you've built in a Twitter account that's like 500,000 people, like MAGA Nation, and then it turns out that you're Macedonian, right? Like, it's an incredibly difficult thing to do, right? I feel so bad for these people.
Yeah. Speaking of tired tropes that stress me out, it really reminds me of that trope where you start something as a joke, but then you really start to feel it. Like, I could see these Austrians starting it as like, haha, this will be funny. And then they start like meeting the people in the MAGA community and spouting MAGA talking points so much that they just really start to drink the Kool-Aid and get into it.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think that they were probably that insincere. I mean,
and now they're being like ruined for it. It's just like, what's that high school movie where the guy? It's supposed to be based on Taming of the Shrew, where the guy takes a bet that he can like ask some girl.
Well, no, but I mean, this is like
and then he falls for her, but then she finds out that it was on a bet, and then she hates
yeah,
him.
what was that?
Things I hate about you.
Not another high school movie, but you're thinking She's All That.
She's All That. Yeah, like that's very stressful because like he actually, fell in love with her, but then she discovered that it was based on false pretenses originally. But like,
As Eastern Europeans are pretty right-wing, generally speaking. Like Romanian TV is Eastern European, and he basically only talks about American politics. Like like
we said, there's one show left, and it's sort of like the global geopolitical / economic debate. And if you're in Romania, that means you're talking about U.S. issues.
Yeah, who the heck cares about politics in Macedonia, right? Like,
it's just the audience isn't big enough, so that can't be part of the main narrative. Yeah.
And so everyone all around the world is LARPing as part of our narrative because we are main characters. This is why I founded the American pronatalist movement, and I get called to speak on Italian TV and French TV and German
that's a really good case in point. Yeah.
And South Korean TV. South Korea should have South Koreans speaking about pronatalism on South Korean TV.
Yeah, but the market's not big enough for it. So yeah.
Japan had me. I was doing the rounds. I was the major pronatalist voice of Japan.
Yeah.
Malcolm Collins.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love you to death, Simone. Really interesting topic. Really important for people to be paying attention to. And frankly, I don't know how I'm going to keep doing this because I have to come up with a totally new, unique take every day.
Nobody has any ideas? This sucks. I don't want to keep having to come up with ideas for shows all the time. It hurts my head. Dude, bail? I think bail. Bail. Yep. Bail.
Not really though, because you and I are always finding weird, nerdy stuff that we want to talk about. And there's like already a long backlog of episodes that we still haven't recorded that we still want to do all sorts of topics, and people keep giving us great topics to cover, some of which are more feasible than others. Like someone had a great idea that we should, interview transitioners and talk about their experiences, but like getting enough people who will talk with us is really
Benjamin
tough.
Boyce already does that. Like,
that's true. He does.
Also, another reason we don't do things like that is because it would be inconsistent for our fan base. Interviews, we typically only have interviews when I know it's going to be off the chain, and we don't even air a lot of our interviews because when you're bringing in interviews, you can't know that it's going to be consistently entertaining for the audience who likes listening to you plus me. The second issue is, which is really bad for the algorithm for the channel, because then somebody jumps in, they're like, oh, I don't like this person this day, and so then they don't watch it. And the other big problem, this is why podcasts are very big for interviews, but YouTube is very rare to have interviews on bigger channels. The second thing that I note here is it's too hard to organize. I can spend a day researching a topic and have an idea after like 2 hours of research or something what I'm going to do for an episode. If we're organizing an outreach campaign and then queuing someone up campaign, then getting the day just right, then the beginning talk to get them feeling okay with us, like that's a whole extra thing that I don't want to deal with, right? So this is not really sustainable. It's also true for topics that require too much research, which is why I've stopped doing as many religious topics. It's not that I do not want to do them. It's that I actually have some like tracked episodes fully written already.
Oh, that's true.
Just tracked episodes take about 4 times as long as a normal episode to edit, record, and handle, even after they're written. So they're just sitting in a backlog, right? Like backlog track. And it's also with religious episodes, I have to do a lot more research because I think it's a lot worse if I accidentally name the wrong account in an episode like this, like whatever, right? But if I name an incorrect religious practice on an episode that's critical of a religious tradition, that's not awesome, right?
You also care more. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that.
All right. Love you, Simone.
Love you too, gorgeous. You too.
And I'll see you in we'll do the debate first, and then we can do the.
We're on. I'll see you in there.
This is for paid members only. Me and Simone debating something.
Yes.
So it'll be on a weekend.
Did you, when you were a kid, have those amazing colored glass light bulb Christmas lights? The kind that would burn your fingers, that they get so hot.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, the big ones, the old-timey ones.
The old-timey ones, yeah.
And what you might forget about this is in Highland Park, the town tree that was decorated entirely in those.
Oh.
Um,
Is it just me, or is there something about the sound that they made when clinking together that's just iconic? That's like better than the lights themselves, better than like sleigh bells.
I don't know this sound.
Oh, the sounding of the sound of old vintage light bulbs from a vintage string of lights clinking together. Oh, yeah. Maybe this is my unique brand of ASMR. I bet though, if I looked it up on YouTube, I would find it. There'd be someone out there who had issues like me, who's super into it. We're dying.
And what do people say of the episode?
It good. I mean, mostly like, oh, can you believe people would need to medicate to have a sex drive? Some people were like, well, like, this is concerning. People shouldn't take medication for this. Other people are like, man, like women, one person pointed out, and I think you saw this comment, that really the unsung story in the saga of women medicating for sex drive was that men feel this way all the time and they don't get any credit for controlling themselves, whereas women medicate themselves and are, like, can't stop, like can't control themselves at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, like men just don't get any credit, and women are like, oh, I can't help myself.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's a really good point. Yeah.
Right.
Someone else shared with me, no, with both of us, I don't know if you saw it, but we ran a video over the weekend on ghosts and ghost stories, and people shared in the comments. They're fantastic ghost stories. I really enjoyed them. And someone suggested a video on infrasound, or infrasound, like sounds that you can't hear, but that affect people and can have been shown in studies to make people experience paranormal things, like to feel feeling.
I'll look into it. Sometimes we get good leads from our audience.
Yeah, it's really, well, I mean, I don't think there's an episode for us to do, but the video on infrasound was made on by this guy named Ben Jordan, he has like a Patreon and a YouTube channel, and he just does music and science, but he does like a lot of audio investigations. And I fell down this rabbit hole of content he's done where like he tries to investigate mystery sounds that bother people that they hear, like sort of like humming noises, or the like beyond infrasound, just the sounds that some people claim to hear that really bother them, that could be due to like radio frequencies or perhaps pipes resonating. And he buys this really expensive sound equipment and will go to people's houses or stay in houses in certain regions for a period of time, turn off all the electricity to the building so that no electrical devices in the building can cause sound, and record audio for long periods of time and try and like keep track of strange sounds that are picked up that we wouldn't be able to hear with our own ears. And I'm just delighted that there are people like this in the world that go around the world to collect audio samples, not as a scientist, not as like, and also not in like in the past, like some kind of gentleman scientist who's just like independently wealthy and gets to do whatever he is because he wants to because he's autistic and wealthy. But like people who have active patrons who are just normal people who will patronize his efforts to go out and do really meaningful research on like, okay, well, people claim to hear these sounds and they really bother them, and they think it's this, like this military frequency, or they think it's cell phone towers, and I'm going to go find out what it is. And that's just delightful. Like, people delight me, and the world is wonderful. And I don't know why people are so cynical, because it's great.
All right. Love you, Simone. By the way, for dinner tonight, I was thinking we would do steak, reheat. We can do steak teriyaki.
Mm-hmm. Just like last night, but instead of with bok choy, just more tons of chives.
But remember to cut them down the center. You stopped doing that? I
did last night.
No. Like the circular things, cut down the center so that they can separate by leaf.
Oh, I only did that with the lower parts. See, yeah, I need to do it with the upper parts, I guess.
Oh no, you only have to do it with the lower parts. I just didn't notice it was the lower parts.
I
I
did
guess.
do it with the lower parts last night.
Oh.
Maybe I missed one. Sorry.
All right. No, I will jump into this.
That can't be a puppet because only a giant man can fit in there.
Hey, Octavian, what are we watching? Explain to me the difference between AI puppets, because you thought this was AI.
Our spirit's life so short. My time upon this globe is very.
AI is like a machine's dreams, right? And puppets are made by hands and stuffed animals.
Now, the spirit. I have learned so much from you.
He's not a puppet. How can I fit in there?
Well, puppets are done in different ways. Sometimes they're done with strings, sometimes they're done with hands.
Oh, spirit, you don't leave me. I think I must. In fact, you have meant so much to me. You have changed me.
And now I need the ghost of Christmas to go.
You mean the future?
Okay.
Master?
Go forth and know.
What is this called? Christmas Carol?
Yeah, Muppet Christmas Carol.
Okay. Muppet Christmas